Hello and welcome to the 7th edition of Sports Talk Live. With winter sports behind us, we're going to shift our attention to the spring sports here at Westchester University. But before we do that, let's switch it up a little bit and start with a segment of Outside the Horns.
Given that we are in March, it is only fitting that on Outside the Horns, we talk about March Madness. Let's take a look at some of the questions people had from Facebook and Twitter. Taylor, how about you start us off with our first question?
Let's begin with our Facebook page. Trisha Wisely asked, with two 15 seeds knocking off Duke and Missouri, is this a coincidence, or do you think that this is something that we will begin to see more of?
All right, well, this is a little bit of a touchy subject for me. I had Missouri going all the way, really messed up my bracket a little bit. And this is really rare, seeing two 15 seeds beating the number 2 seed, because that's never happened ever in NCAA history. And I think it was just a coincidence. Not going to see too much of that.
Well, honestly, I think it will be a trend that we're going to start to see. I mean, you saw, other than the two 15 seeds, you saw Syracuse struggle just to get out of their first game. The smaller schools are catching up to the bigger schools, in my opinion. So I think it will be something we see, not to this extent, but we'll see it every year.
Ryan, I have to cut you off there. So in my estimation, Norfolk State just was a lot bigger than Missouri, and even though Missouri had more talent, they just really didn't have the depth and the size to really play with them. And for Lehigh's case, T.J. McCullough just totally took the inexperienced Blue Demons and they just beat them. So it's just a rare occasion, in my estimation.
Moving on to our second question, we're going to turn to Twitter. Dan Leonard asked, who does Sports Talk Live see winning the NCAA tournament?
Well, gentlemen, I'm taking Michigan State, and I'll tell you why. They got Tom Izzo leading them. He's been there before. He knows what it takes to win it all. Another reason, they got Draymond Green, who's a senior. He's been there 4 years. He can take this team to a whole new level, and I think he will really lead this team. Also, they're coming off the big win against Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship. Ohio State's a very good team, so they got a lot of momentum from that win. I think they're going to use that to go all the way.
I completely disagree with you there. I think Ohio State's going to come back. They're not going to lose to Michigan State twice. They're too good. They have Solinger, who's arguably one of the best players in the league, and they just have really good guard play to surround them, and they're really just going to take it all the way.
I'm sorry, guys, but you're both wrong. It's going to be the Kentucky Wildcats, led by superior talent and by Player of the Year candidate Anthony Davis. I just don't see anyone stopping this team, so I just think, at the end of the day, they're going to come out with the W.
All right, guys, we're all picking the high seeds here. Well, what about some underdogs? Who could we really see pulling off the upset in the end?
All right, guys, to start off, I see Florida, a 7 seed, coming out of their bracket. If you see the road they have, they play Marquette and possibly Michigan State to go to the Final Four. And I think that's just the easiest road, led by guard play by Boynton and Beal. I think they have a really good shot, and they just have a ton of talent. So overall, I think they have the best shot at winning.
I'm going to go with Louisville here. I'm taking them. They're going to beat Michigan State. They're number 1 seed, but I see them the weakest number 1 seed. I think if Louisville can get past them, they're going to take that momentum and take it all the way.
Well, I'm going to take a team that lost to Louisville, and that will be Cincinnati. They lost them in the Big East Championship. But other than that, they've been rolling as of late, and the whole year they were kind of in the middle of the pack, and it seems that they're peaking at just the right moment. They just upset Florida State, which was huge. So they got a lot of things going for them right now, and I think they're going to use that momentum and go all the way.
It's been a very entertaining first couple of rounds, but what really stands out and really defines this tournament for you guys?
All right, guys, a real inspirational story that I saw had to do with the star point guard for Louisville, Peyton Siva. His father, a couple years ago, tried to take his own life, but now he's still at all of his games, and he's watching and cheering for his son, and he said that's the real reason why he lives. So I thought that was really inspirational and a great story.
Yeah, that's a really touching story. What's defined it for me is the 13 through 16 seeds, though. We have, like I said, the 15 seeds who upset Missouri and Duke, but we also have UNC Nashville, that very close game against Syracuse, very controversial in my opinion. They should have pulled it out, been the first time that 16 beat a number 1. And then we still have Ohio, who's a 13 seed, still in the tournament. So it's really the Cinderella teams that have defined this tournament for me.
Yeah, those are two good stories, but for me it's about the emotions of this tournament. After a recent loss, St. Louis head coach Rick Majerus was at a press conference holding tears back, getting all emotional because talking about his seniors not being able to playing their last game and how hard it is for them. I mean, they're not going to go to the NBA. They got to choose a different career to go forward. And the bond that they create during a season is really special, and it was really emotional. It really touched me.
That's all we have for March Madness. So now, let's bring it back to Westchester and talk about the baseball team. The Golden Rams played 4 games against Mansfield, where they were able to sweep the Mountaineers, improving to 15-1 overall and 4-0 in the conference. Guys, what are your thoughts on Westchester's impressive start to the season?
Well, they just got back from their trip to Florida, in which they went 6-1, with their only loss coming to Minnesota Duluth by a score of 5-4. And the surprising start to the season has really caught a lot of people off guard, and it's really captivating the campus.
Yeah, and they continued their hot streak, and they're on a 10-game winning streak. They beat Mansfield in 4 games, and they beat St. Rose in 2. and it really doesn't seem like anyone's been able to stop Westchester so far this year.
You're right. In the last 4 games against Mansfield, they outscored them 46-14. So you just see how how much of a great offense they have so far in the season.
Let's hope they can continue this hot streak as they move further on this season. But before we move on to softball, let's take a look at some highlights on the diamond from this past week. To start off our top plays today, Joe Wendell rips one opposite field, over the left fielder's head, one hopper off the fence. By the time the left fielder gets there, he's cruising easily at third.
Wow, I don't know if he took a bad angle or what, but the left fielder had no chance at that one. At number 4, we have Joe Wendell once again, but this time going the other way as he lines one off the right field fence, cruising around first and second, ending up with a stand-up triple.
Yeah, he really made that one look real easy. A little bit of small ball coming at the number 3 spot. Dylan Zigman lays down the suicide squeeze, and he's even able to beat it out at first.
At number 2, we have Jack Provine roping one to deep left field, and initially it looks like the left fielder makes an amazing catch, but the ball bounces out of his glove, and by the time they get it in, Jack ends up at third.
I couldn't believe this. I could have sworn he caught that ball. And here we go. Number 1, our top play of the week. Joe Wendell crushes one to deep right field. That ball's out of here. A 2-run home run as Joe went 4 for 6 on the day in a doubleheader against St. Rose Saturday afternoon. Wendell's been killing the ball so far this year. Hopefully he keeps it up for the remainder of the season.
Well, I think we made a mistake on that top play. I think you meant to say Riley Wallace instead of Joe Wendell. Anyways, let's move on to our next topic, softball. The ladies just got back from a spring break trip to Florida where they won 6 out of 11 games, including an 18-0 spanking against St. Michael's. The 13-10 Lady Rams come home to face Goldie Beacom and Millersville in a pair of doubleheaders this week. They seem to be a little inconsistent this year. What do you think needs to happen for them to compete for the PSAC title?
Well, guys, the one thing they have to be wary of is their pitching. During a 3-game span when they were in Florida, they let up 22 runs, so they got to get that under control. Otherwise, they're not going to have a very successful season.
Yeah, another thing that I saw was just the inconsistent hitting. That they're one game, the next game they're not. Putting up 10+ runs and then coming back and putting up 1 run. They really have to find a medium there, 7-8 runs, and I think they'll be fine.
Exactly.
Let's finish up here on STL, taking a look at the gymnastics team. As their season is coming to a close with a record of 10-8, they only have the ECAS Division II championships and the USAG Nationals left on the schedule. They've been dominant at home with an impressive 5-0 record, but as they're going to be traveling for both of these events, hopefully they can be just as impressive on the road.
Also, we would like to congratulate Emily Siegel, who was named ECAC Specialist of the Week. In a meet hosted by Rutgers University, Emily competed in the bars and the beam. She notched a 9.625 in both events, which were career highs for Siegel.
The next event for Westchester is the ECAC Division II Championships in New Haven, Connecticut, March 24th. Let's hope that the girls can pull this one out and get some momentum heading into nationals.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have on STL. We'll be here next week, same time, same place. Take it easy, Westchester.